The Lord Jesus Christ appeared in person to the boy Joseph Smith. Our whole strength rests on the validity of that vision. It either occurred or it did not occur. If it did not, then this work is a fraud.
Travis Wayne Goodsall. Another month. So, I had a couple of videos to work on today, and so thinking about it during my run, I confirmed that I need to save lives. That's the most important thing to do with my videos this final year of the latter days. And now we're in the countdown to 9/11. And so, if you're a Mormon and you believe that the church is true, you need to follow the living prophet of Jesus. If you refuse to follow him, but you claim you're Mormon, you are a deceiver. You follow who you obey. You are not obeying Nelson, therefore you're obeying someone else, and thus you're following someone else, and you are not a Mormon. Looks like I need to spray the windows this morning. The microscopic bugs are out. And so, for those of you who are Mormon and you obey Nelson, it means you are now a practicing child bride polygamist. Right? You follow Nelson. You obey the living prophet of Jesus. Therefore, you are a child bride polygamist. Right? If you're the first wife, you have sought out other women for your husband because you're obedient. You're a Mormon. If you're a husband, you are reminding your wife that she needs to be obedient, and that you provide her a list of other options for her to interview. Right? You're obedient. You're a Mormon, right? You're not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ of Mormons? If you went to the temple regularly, you would know that this is what you are supposed to do. Even my second ex, who went to the temple after Nelson made the change, came to me and told me, "Did you know that Nelson brought back polygamy?" Really? And so I've got the clip from the full text. I still need to review the one from earlier this year as part of the scandal, or was it last year? I think it might have been last year, but regardless of which year it was. The guy who obtained the video of it posted it on social media. I don't know which one it was. And I missed it because the church got upset and had it banned. They released the handbook of instructions, but they're still covering up and hiding the temple ritual and the endowment? They no longer have the penalties. Why do they need to cover up and hide it? Pay attention to the words, not just child bride polygamy. This is why they don't want to give you the text. Because it's documented evidence that this church is not true. Because again, you follow who you obey. If you follow Joseph Smith, you obey Joseph Smith. If you follow Brigham Young or Nelson, you obey them. If you believe the Book of Mormon is true, you have to obey it. And so, thus putting it to the test, because by their fruits you shall know if they're true or false. Remember, that's a scripture. It's a command. It's in the Book of Mormon, not just the New Testament, Matthew chapter 7. And so, if that's concerning you, are you concerned with Islam? They're not believers in the Book of Mormon or in the living prophet of Jesus. So should you force them to obey you? Is that giving people free agency to worship how, where, and what they may? To take away their agency and force them to obey. Right, doesn't it? That's their policy, not mine. When they got confronted as to whether or not they're domestic terrorists, gang, they said, we just want Mormons to obey the living prophet of Jesus. That's all we're doing. Enforcing it with the javelin. See, it's the sword for Nehor, so they're okay. No, you can't. Again, who takes away agency? This is an exclusive Mormon theology. It's Lucifer. And so evangelicals, by forcing the Supreme Court to overthrow the rights of women due to their religious beliefs, banning LGBTQ from purchasing wedding cakes and other items, providing services, that's taking away agency. Denying blacks an equal education with whites, so that all would have a fair opportunity to try out and submit resumes to colleges across the nation, so that our colleges wouldn't have to decide, do we employ affirmative action or do we do merit-based? Do we give agency? Or do we find excuses to take it away? And again, the one you follow is the one you obey. And so, the living prophet of Jesus, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, follows the doctrines of Lucifer. So who do they obey, Mormons? So as a Mormon who wants to be obedient to the living prophet of Jesus, you now follow Lucifer. You obey him if you are a true Mormon. Real simple. Don't get mad at me for what you're supposed to do. If you refuse to be obedient, it's on you, not on me. I'm not going to force your agency to believe how, who, and what, and where, and when, and why. But you can't take mine away. You cannot bully me. You cannot threaten me. That makes you the enemy, not me. I follow and obey Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon. Section 107, verse 91. Joseph Smith is the Christ. Joseph is not Christian. He does not follow Jesus. He does not obey Jesus of Christianity. He follows the Jewish Christ. He obeys the Jewish religion. So the president of the church is to preside over the whole church and to be the Christ. And so only Joseph Smith is a seer, revelator, translator, and prophet. Now, ex-fo nevermos, you've been lied to by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just like Mormons have. You believe that Joseph Smith is the founder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, when you know the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is lying to us. Pick and choose which lie you want to believe. Can't do that. Once you know they lie, you can't trust them for anything else. Even if they decide to tell you a truth once in a while, you can never trust them. It's like the boy who cried wolf. You lie so many times, people say, I can't trust you. And so the one time when the wolf does come and take over the church, nobody's going to believe you. And then they're going to follow the wolf, and then they'll be serving to serve man. Twilight Zone. Gotta put the final countdown before I forget. Okay? Do you understand this? Does it concern you that Joseph Smith is the Christ? You don't know Greek, do you? Even though the church has it in their manuals to teach you that Christ means anointed. He who is the anointed one. And you're not concerned about Brigham Young in January in the Nauvoo Temple of 1846 getting his second anointing? Do you not understand what that is? He declared himself the Christ. But he only has the keys of Peter, James, and John, not Moses. Peter, James, and John's keys are not the keys of Moses to lead the church. Those keys are only for missionary work, to spread the word about the Jewish religion, the Jewish Book of Mormon, the Jewish Christ, not another testament of Jesus. So, a seer is one who has visions and dreams. A revelator has been corrupted in its definition. You now think it's inspiration. No. Everybody has inspiration. That's the light of Christ. Everybody has access to inspiration. That's the light of Christ. These are different. These are science keys. As much as the Christian church turned them into witchcraft. Revelator is disclosing the day and the hour of prophesied future events. Thus, prophet is someone who gives you future events. Thus, Isaiah is a prophet because he predicts the future. And so what are the Book of Mormon religious people called? Prophets. Even those who are not the head of the church, like Samuel, that Lamanite. And then translator, you have to know how to translate. You have to know that Christ means anointed. And you can't be offended because you've been lied to by your religion to believe that only Jesus is the Christ, when Jesus wasn't even created until 325 CE by Roman Emperor Constantine. You can't go around lying to people about Constantine, but then claim that the creed is true. The two go hand in hand. And the creed says specifically, it's false, that Jesus is not real. And now 4 billion people on the earth today believe that lie. It is the iron mingled with clay feet of Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And the prophecy was fulfilled with the Protestant Reformation movement. As there were previous breaks, the Orthodoxy break, and then Protestant Reformation. And then we're still in our day, we're seeing more break-offs. Methodists, Baptists, breaking off. Because their Jesus believes this, and their Jesus believes that. And so, Nelson is not authorized to lead the Church of Joseph Smith. These are automatic deductive conclusions here. Nelson says no, he is not a prophet, he is not a revelator. He claims the title, doesn't he? But he denies the power thereof. They will not prophesy. They will not predict the future. They will not reveal the day and the hour. They themselves say it. They will not do it. Therefore, they're false. If you are going to claim the title, you must do the works so that people can judge you by the fruit. And if you refuse to do it, then you're not, automatically. And so claiming to be so and not doing it makes you automatically false. By their fruits ye shall know a false prophet. And so every single Mormon who is baptized is under obedience to look forth for the signs of the coming of your Christ, so that you may know him when he comes, so that you can follow him and obey him. You follow who you obey. Section 39, verse 23. Joseph Smith tells you exactly who to look for. I'm not going to give you the reference. If you have no clue where to find this reference, oh my hell. He quoted also the 3rd chapter of Acts, 22nd, 23rd verses, precisely as they stand in our New Testament. He said that that prophet was Christ. The day had not yet come when they who would not hear his voice should be cut off from among the people, but soon would come. Years later, huh? That's way too long. So did you ever go to Acts? Or did you say, well, it's precisely as it stands and you quoted from it, so therefore you don't need to go? It's Jesus. We just went over this. It's not Jesus. Joseph Smith is a Christ, the founding Christ of Mormons, the stone which Mormons rejected. And so now we're looking for a Christ who will be the capstone of Mormonism to restore Joseph Smith's Jewish religion. Hope you can find him in time. Hope you know who to look for. You notice that that angel who is described as the Egyptian sun god Amun at noonday is wearing white and is at the bedside. Hope you can find him. Hope you don't have to be compelled to believe because of your unbelief. For Moses truly said unto the fathers, Moses, that Jewish Christ, whom Joseph Smith is? A prophet shall the Lord your God raise up. As a baby? After Joseph Smith? Uh-oh. That's not Jesus. Unto you of your brethren like unto me, him shall ye hear in all things whatsoever he shall say unto you. You follow who you obey. And it shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear that prophet. And so if Joseph Smith is telling this to Mormons, and the Christ is coming after Joseph, who is the Christ and his ministry for Mormons, shall be destroyed. Wait a minute, that's not cut off. Destroyed. And if you knew Greek, the word is actually to be translated utterly destroyed. From among the people. All the prophets, from Samuel and those that follow after, as many as have spoken, have likewise foretold of these days. Prophesied, predicting the future, and revealing the day and the hour. So who put in Matthew 24 and 25, no man knows the day or the hour, when the day and the hour is in Matthew 24 and 25? At Christian Church, I tell you. So, yeah, it's me. I'm the one you're looking for. And it's too late for you to study and cram and hope you can get it. You have to learn from scratch. You now have to be compelled to believe. It was right here all along for you. As a child in primary, we went over 2 Nephi chapter 3 verse 5 and 2 Nephi chapter 3. And everybody knows this is about Joseph Smith. That therefore the Book of Mormon is prophesying of the coming of Joseph Smith. They don't know that it's also giving the day and the hour in the Book of Mormon. Because we've turned revelation into inspiration. And so, sure enough, after Joseph Smith will come the promised, covenanted Messiah to be manifest unto Mormons in the latter days. To be raised up as a baby, as a Mormon, to restore Joseph's church. And as a child in primary, as I'm making up lyrics to the hymns, I can tell because it's part of the theme of the video. Follow the prophet. Follow the prophet. He knows the way. I don't know the actual lyrics because I replaced it with follow the prophet, straight down to hell. As a child. See, I didn't use HE double hockey sticks. None of that crap. I don't use heck. Hell no. And so as I'm being taught this lesson, I'm thinking this is really cool. The Book of Mormon is so true. I'm in the one and only true church of Jesus. And knowing that others are prophesied to be born, having a special mission to perform, having been foreordained in the premortal council of heaven. This left a big impression on my mind as a child. And I thought, I wonder what my mission is, and am I likewise prophesied in Scripture? Little did I know, because of the evils of this church, causing a stumbling block with Christianity. And so yeah, I still remember looking up in the index and the topical guide, Bible dictionary, trying to see if Travis is in the scriptures somewhere. Nope. Good soul? Nope. Not there. Oh well, that sucks. I'm worthless scum. I have no important mission to do. Then my dad tells me, you'll never be a professional baseball player. Give up. Don't keep trying. It's a waste of your time to play baseball. You know that Indiana Jones, as an archaeologist, is fiction. Archaeology is boring. You don't want to become an archaeologist. You're not going to go around the world looking for hidden treasures. Give up. Don't even try going into that field. What am I allowed to do, Daddy? You know? And so, yes, you're supposed to be looking. There are prophecies. And everybody prophesies about them. Just read it to you from Acts. It's in the Book of Mormon. Everybody. Is this true or is it false? That's a checklist. You need to follow the checklist. And so it's a little confusing if you think it's all literal history because of Roman Emperor Constantine's first creed of Christianity that turned the Jewish prophecies and revelations into literal histories. You need to see the stories as prophecies, not as literal history. It will confuse you. And so, if we were to go through the Bible, because the Book of Mormon says it's about the Mormon, not about literal history people. And so Genesis chapter 1, yep, it's about him being born out of his mother's womb. The waters part and the baby comes through on dry ground. Takes his first breath to become a living soul and now have rights. In the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Not the coup of America that's going on right now. But you were prophesied by Joseph that the Constitution would be upon the brink of ruin. You got to listen to your Christ to save America. Oops. And yet we find out in the news another Mormon is going to prison for his role in overthrowing the government on January 6th. Anybody watch that video? Anybody notice that I found out his Danite ancestry? He was adopted in. And so, yes, chapter 1 is about the man like Moses. So where does this come from? This Acts. Deuteronomy, obviously. Could have just checked your footnotes. Church at least gave you that much. 2 Nephi chapter 3, no, they will not reference this. Even though they directly say it is. Verse 15 of chapter 18. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee of thy brethren like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. Deuteronomy is the law of the Jews. You follow who you obey. This is the law of the Jews. They are to obey this. They are to follow this. All prophets have to obey this and follow this when writing their prophecies. Every single hero of every single Jewish story is the Christ. Me. This is the test you have to put. And so, Joseph is the Christ of Genesis. After Noah is, but then Noah becomes Adam, so that his sons then set up the pattern to Moses or to Joseph. As Joseph has dreams. 2 Nephi chapter 3. That's why seer is used, not prophet. He's arrested by false brethren. Hey, just like Joseph Smith in Liberty Jail. False brethren. Betrayed by Mormons. And you blame those who apostatized, and you don't want to listen to them saying that they were threatened by the false brethren in the church. The Mormons who demanded they obey them or die. Taking away agency, huh? Blaming Joseph for it? Sounds like evil to me. Those Danites. Yeah, but me too. Have I been locked up by false brethren? Yep. Twice over. One for 6 years, the other for 9 months. Then Moses. Everything that Moses does. He has to be born as a baby. Has to be educated in the north for the crown. So the North Crown. So did he go to North Crown High School? Did he go to the northernmost college? Multiple. Went to Norco High School. Went to Rick's College. Went to the University of Lethbridge. Went to the University of Utah, not BYU. Multiple fulfillments. The book of Jasher takes from Isaiah prophecy about the coal and the burning of the tongue and adds that to a prophecy about me, the man like Moses, concerning my tongue being burned by coal. Wow. Did it? Yep. As a child, went on a camping trip with my dad, and he was cooking stroganoff on a little sternal thing and using charcoal. One of the charcoals rolled out. As a kid, I didn't know any better. I didn't see it on fire. Picked it up, blistered the thumb and the finger, and then, when given the stroganoff, burnt my tongue. It's still burned to this day. And so spicy hot foods are more intense for me than I can't handle them. It has to be mild, and in some cases, beyond mild. There are some that are deceiving us with mild. It's not mild, this is medium. Who made this? Get a rope. Please pecani sauce. So yeah. And so there's others, prophecies. You know, Samson, he's the Sun King. You need to know that the Jews have baby name meanings for their names. So the Jewish authors who are prophesying are specifically taking advantage of the baby name meanings. Genesis, for example, he names the baby and then defines the baby name meaning. And that just happens to be what the baby is prophesied to do. And then he gets a new name after the completion. And then new name is defined. That's a pattern. There's a reason. You're supposed to know Hebrew to know and understand, so that you don't get up at the pulpit of conference and go, two Hebrew scholars told me, because I'm not a translator, that using the English text, ignoring the Hebrew and the Hebrew meanings, we can say that Israel means let God prevail. Well, if you knew Hebrew, you'd know that the words of the names have sub-meanings of sub-words. El, for example, is God. Israel, God. And so let, you'd need to know when that was made a definition. It was the Jewish Masoretes in 800 CE. So it is not the translation. You need to go back to the original text in Paleo-Hebrew. Oh, Yah, the Hebrew God. Elijah, El-Yah, God Yah. And so the text has another word in that sentence, prince. And so we got S and R to deal with. We know Yah and we know God, but what's SR? Is it prince or is it prevail? Well, if you knew Hebrew, and even if you didn't, all you had to do was look at it and know that prince goes in that place. Never prevail. And you really don't need to be a translator to figure that one out. That was a softball gimme to make Nelson look good, and he botched it. So yes, I am a translator of Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian and. The ancient dead languages have been deciphered by me, and they're visionary. Don't you dare ask me to speak them. I just got through explaining this for you. Look, see. Don't pronounce. There is no pronunciation meaning back then. Pictures. So yes, I have demonstrated the fruit. I have produced the works. You can judge me. And Mormons can't, because it means that the church is false. But why are you stupid enough to stay in a false religion just because you have to make it true? You do not know the danger that's coming. And so there's others, Samson, as I didn't get to continue, as I took a tangent on the book of Jasher. Samson, Sun King, baby name meaning. King, not child. Google is wrong. The Jews are wrong. Sun King. The N at the end is a suffix determinative in Paleo-Hebrew for king. Kingdom for places. Sure, Sean? Babylon. Which is curious because theirs is a different language and it altered Paleo-Hebrew. That was the first change made onto Paleo-Hebrew directly, turning it into Semitic Hebrew. Because the Jews were not Semites, and we only call them Semites because of the Bible being turned into literal history that says that Shem took over Assyria as his land of inheritance, that Ham got Egypt and Canaan. Ham got Canaan, not Shem. And thus the lie that keeps being spread by Christians and Islamists and fooling the Jews into thinking they're all Abrahamic religions. No, it's not literal history. No, no, no. No, no, no. And so you got Mormons who keep pushing for finding out where Abraham's birthplace was because they know it can't be Ur of Babylon. Good for you, but Joseph Smith gave you the answer. Why don't you believe Joseph? Facsimile number 1, number 10. Dumbasses all. And so, Samson, the wedding supper feast at the temple of the great and abominable church. She's a Philistine. Or a Timite thing. Do we need to go to it? It's of the Hittites, I think. Isn't it? Something like that. It's not of the covenant. Some Judges and 14. Yeah, Philistine. I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. The great and abominable church. Who's the great and abominable church? This is prophecy. She's a Mormon, born and raised in the covenant of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He gets married at the Philistine temple and has a wedding supper feast at the Lion House next to the Beehive House. This is what you're looking for. It's right here for you, Mormons. Get rid of Jesus and Christianity, and all of a sudden it's a whole new world. Jasmine. A whole new world. Yep. And the deaths correspond to the solar eclipses. Solar eclipse, sun, death. So lion, death. Solar eclipse in Leo the lion. 21st of August 2017. Death of his wife. With fire, the ring of fire for an annular eclipse. 14th of October 2023 over Utah. And then he dies, taking out the Philistines. The sign of the death of the Christ. But the death is on the back of the white horse. He is the Lamb-Ram constellation of where Jupiter would be. See, now I'm including John the Revelator day and hour, remember? See how the day and hour is in the story of Samson? And so now we can go to Jesus. Jesus is not talking about literal history. The Romans didn't use crosses. The Jewish author is trying to tell you something. 8 April 2024. Just like Revelation 19, just like Samson. Notice his eyes are plucked out. Samson. And so, quotes Isaiah in chapter 1 of Matthew. Doesn't use sign. Kind of important because that's the revelation of when the latter days are. The first letter and the last letter of the Paleo-Hebrew script, alphabet. The pattern of the sun god with his crossroads, shadow on the earth. And so solar eclipses are awesome. They give you his name, he who is from the crossroads of the sun god at noonday. Travis, good cell, God soul, God of the sun, sun god. It tells you when, because signs in the heavens only happen once. That's why it's brilliant to use astronomy as a precise timekeeper. But it only works when you're on Earth. And so if you go to another planet, you have to reset your clock. And it tells you where on Earth the prophesied events are to occur and when they are to occur. So thus Samson gives you all three. And so 21st of August 2017, 14th October 2023, 8 April 2024. The 3 days and hours of darkness. Notice how Jesus is on the cross in 3 hours of darkness, and then he's in the tomb of darkness for 3 days. On a cross. The A with the X. So now do you understand why Constantine fooled Christians as he created them? By claiming he saw a sign in the heavens of the Chi-Rho, the X with the Rho. The X is for crossroads, but also used for foreign land. The Rho is the flag symbol from Egypt and is God. God at the crossroads. He who is from the crossroads. The sun god. So Constantine knew, but he deceived Christians by saying he saw it in his day. He lied. He's a false Christ. And so, yeah, which being interpreted as God with us? No. That's the Masoretes again that believed in Christianity. Get rid of that. It's not in Isaiah. It's not in the Book of Mormon. You need to trust them over this. Get rid of it. Get rid of day and the hour that no man knows. Get rid of it. It'll confuse you. And so, when I was born in Spica of Virgo. They just got through telling you. The start of the ministry. But it's also a dualism for my actual birth. Born in Virgo. And the date is the 17th of March, 1970. Not that old. Prophecy. Revelation. It's out there. Not just through Bible sources. Because Joseph Smith revealed this to us. Brigham Young, by his false accusation, revealed this to us. Because of Deuteronomy 19. False accusers are to be given the punishment that would have been for the falsely accused had they been guilty. So, Abinadi dying by fire, King Noah dying by fire. Alma and the people who believed and listened to him at the Waters of Mormon, chased out. The people of King Noah, chased out. Laban, you are thieves, I will murder you. Nephi slays Laban. Deuteronomy 19, the law. And everybody screws it up because of Christianity. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's not what it meant. It means for the false accuser. The punishment for the false accuser is supposed to be what the innocent person would get. So, that's why I try to tell you about my life and about the abuses and the false accusations of this church. Because Brigham Young fled the country with his usurped, insurrected church as Christ founded his kingdom in this valley in 1847. And so this year is 177 years later. So again, my dream with Hinckley, the number 77, given the key card of his office. He has no authority. His room was empty. The authority is being transferred back to me to restore Joseph's church. This year, 77. And it's a dualism because my mom died when she was 77. She betrayed me. Sent me to my death. And so she died when she was 77 years old. Church, mother, Virgo, who gives birth to me. Her name's Judy, by the way, the feminine of Judah, the betrayer of Joseph and Jesus. Judas, Judah, Judy. Esau, when he loses his birthright and blessing, I think it was actually before, he goes and marries of the great and abominable church, Judith. And is supposed to give birth, but he's usurped. And so it becomes Joseph rather than Ra, which is through another wife. We don't find out who the children of Judith is, but there's another name, and it seems to be that was supposed to be the Judith woman, but confusing. There's some problems there. You need to get it fixed. And so yeah, my name is the same name as my father's, just like Joseph is the same name as his father. Wayne. The Travis is a third name. My dad's name is Wayne. And so I have my dad's name, Travis Wayne. And it's Wagoneer. What Brigham Young used with the Vanguard Company. Wagons. Handcarts were for the poor people being human trafficked with the Perpetual Immigration Fund that the church would eventually get shut down for by the United States of America in 1887. Oh, you thought it was plural marriage? Oops. Nope. Perpetual Immigration Fund. That's what the United States shut down and dissolved. They dissolved the Incorporated Perpetual Immigration Fund and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1852. Shut them all down in 1887. Had nothing to do with polygamy. Polygamy was being used by the Perpetual Immigration Fund for sex trafficking. Church lies to you. They don't want you to know the truth. And so Wayne, Wagoneer. So yes, wagons. It's translated as wagons in the scriptures, in the Exodus. And so the wagon of the sun god. Chariot. What else? I guess because everything, but we're already over an hour. We'll tell you all the dates of Revelation. 23rd September for verses 1, 2, and 5 of chapter 12. This is from Isaiah chapter 6 and 7. Thus the Joseph Smith translation moves verse 5 to verse 3. And hey, there it is in the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 8 through 10. So guess what year the Book of Mormon starts us off with? The first year of the latter days. It's not literal history, remember? And so yes, the whole Book of Mormon could do the same thing, every single story. And so Lehi, oh, it's the exact same pattern match with Nephi's second vision of the sun god at noonday wearing white at the bedside. This was just a coincidence. I did my laundry on Friday, and it just so happened that I pulled out the gray shirt first and put that on the top of the pile. And then the white shirt was the last one, because those get washed in the whites, whereas the colored shirts get washed with the coloreds. And so the coloreds I do first because it takes less time to wash, so that when I do the whites, it takes longer to wash, thus the dryer with the darks finishes first. There's a system in what I do, because I don't like inconveniences. I make my life simpler. So that just happened that this week, Saturday, I wore the white shirt. I have yet to, bathe today and change clothes, because I just got back from my run when I started this video. And so here we are. Again, demonstrating to Mormons how I'm fulfilling prophecy. And so, verse 3, the red dragon, 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his head. 17th December 2017, the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. I was going to check this, and I didn't. And I'm not sure if it can be found, but I wanted to find out. Because as is added in verse 1 in the Joseph Smith translation, sign in the heavens, revelation, in the likeness of things on the earth, prophecy. And so I wanted to find out. AI is destroying everything. I see it, and nobody else wants to see it. Everybody else keeps embracing AI. And then they get hacked, and they don't understand where it came from. It's AI. It's the rise of the machines. This is taking way too long. Let's see. 17 December 2017. LDS Church News. It's going to give me grief, isn't it? Frozen. Did my camera shut down? No, it's still going. Interesting. They have AI for this. This is awesome. Interesting. And so, yeah, they confirm it on the right. You shouldn't have to watch AI, but the church makes sure that AI tells the truth. It's going to work. We're going to have problems. So they changed the formatting here. And it's not working because of the camera running. It's giving me problems. Come on. At least do the screenshot. There we go. God. So yeah, on December 17th, 2017, Monson is on his deathbed. He is incapable of running the church. Diabetes and dementia. He's about to die in the coming days. And so, the church adds new opportunities for youth and children, according to the church news site, in preparing and participating in the temples. And the new changes would allow children and youth to participate in temple work in new ways. And this is when Nelson changed the date to 11 years old. Nelson, not Monson. He's on his deathbed. He can't make this change. He is required to make changes in the church, and Nelson did it instead. Okay? 11 years old now. And this is where my child bride polygamy clip comes from, if you remember that one. They go to the temple with our 11-year-old girls. She would be a second wife. You got to pay attention to this church. And there appeared another sign in the heavens. And behold, a great red dragon, which is Lucifer. He explains this. The devil. Nelson. Russell Marion. And so there it is. Nelson rises up to usurp Monson before his time as the president of the Quorum of the 12. Nelson did that, not Monson. Ta-da! You got live on that one. So that's a reward for those of you who have endured this far into the video. We'll try to end it as quickly as possible here, so it's not too much longer. Verse 4, his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. Monson dies. Quadranted meteor showers. 2nd of January, 2018. Okay, and then there's another one. Verse 15, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman. This is a little tricky because this is a sign on earth, but there was a sign in the heavens of a lunar eclipse. This was 10th of February 2017. He goes back in time here. This is during the pregnancy. Back in time. A few months, several months, a number of months. Only newly pregnant for a couple months, a few months. Because if Virgo gets impregnated, you know when the conception is, not just the birth, even though it's out in outer space. Because Jupiter retrogrades for a pregnancy period. That's why they use the story form for the symbolism of the signs in the heavens. And so, yeah, this was Elko, Nevada, mostly, that it was talked about in the news. But yeah, it surrounded Salt Lake City. Everywhere was getting flooded. But not Nelson, who was giving his family Discovery Day talk on that day. And I went right into the storm in Elko, Nevada, where I participated in Family Discovery Day there. Do you see the contrast between Nelson and I? Nelson is the false Christ. I am the true Christ. Once you know who our characters are, you can now plug us in to every single scripture story. And you can go back and use your Urim and Thummim. I gave it to you. What did you do with it? To see what was going on, as I just demonstrated. 17th of December. I wasn't checking the church news back then. I didn't know I needed to check it. So yeah, if I knew now what I would back then, I would have done things differently. I would have organized my files better, knowing that I would include a whole bunch of files over the years. Alright, and then Revelation 19. Verse 11. And I saw heaven opened, a sign in the heavens, white horse, it's Pegasus, sat on him, therefore in Pisces, because that's on the back of the white horse. And everybody believes that's Jesus, but it's the sun god, the sun. His eyes were a flame of fire. That's Amun, the Egyptian sun god. He had a name written that no man knew but he himself. That's Amun, the Egyptian sun god. The sun is on the back of the white horse. Now, in verse 17, I saw an angel standing in the sun. The latter-day prophecy of the Jewish Christ. The Star of David is the moon. The circle is the sun. This is the shield of David, not the Star of David. The shield is for the latter-day man like Moses. David Moses, if I were to include Jeremiah and even Isaiah. The house of David, Emmanuel, man like Moses. David Moses. Going back to the Egyptians, 18th dynasty, David Moseses. David is composed of the two D's of Delta of Paleo-Hebrew, combined together into a star. But it's technically the moon. And so, when you know this, you will know that Islam stole this symbol, as Muhammad claimed to be the man like Moses too, just like Constantine did. It's me, not those fakes. Because they have the crescent, and then they have a star in front of it, eclipsing it. And depending on who it is, the crescent changes. Communism, notice what it is? Russia, instead of a star, they use the sickle and the hammer. It's the same thing, they just turned it into earth stuff rather than star stuff. They're all talking about the same thing, replacing me. And on 8 April 2024, boom, there it is. Not whoop, there it is, that's the song. So I just prophesied to you here in this video. I revealed to you all these dates. And if you're wondering how David can be the moon rather than the sun god, because the priesthood of Ammon was for the 18th dynasty. The religion. Moon, sun, government, religion, female, male, husband, wife, father, mother. See the pattern? Visionary. The two eyes of Horus is the word PTR. Don't focus on phonetics, but it's Peter for seer. And so, the Egyptian deity named David, phonetically transliterated into Paleo-Hebrew, giving it a phoneme rather than a visionary language, is thought. David. He's the god of the moon. And so Moses, the first pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, Yah is a moon god under David. So Yah is the Hebrew god because of the 18th dynasty David Moses is. Ta'ut Moshe. And David Moses III went up to battle against the Hittites at Armageddon. Armageddon won. And then went on vacation in the middle of the war to go to the top of the mountain of Utah, to the little hamlet called Peace, Salem. And there's Bible stories about it, about a war going on and infidelity with another man's wife, giving birth to a baby that dies, and then Solomon is born as the husband is sent to the front lines of the war. No temple was built during David's time, because there was no temple there. But there was a temple and a palace with a throne after his visit. And Solomon, hey, there's that N at the end, King of Peace, King of Salem. So all of these are prophecies of the Prince of Peace, who would be the King of Peace. Again, prophecy, revelation, visions, translations. I am him, Mormons. I can go through everything. I can go through the records of the Romans to show you that I'm Jupiter. Go through the Greeks to show you that I'm Zeus. The Hebrews for Yah. The Chinese. The Babylonians. The Assyrians. The Hittites. The Aztecs. The Mayans. The Egyptians, from which all of them derive. Because remember, everybody prophesies about me. You choose who you follow. I'm not going to force you. But why would you attack me? Just because I am him? And it means you're false? If you're going to be that stupid. But there are consequences. Because again, this year, I'm giving you extra stuff. 1 Kings chapter 18. Elijah, God Yah, me, versus the priests of Baal, the great and abominable church. Nelson will not prophesy. He will not reveal. Jesus was supposed to come this year. He didn't. Nelson failed. And so I'm the one who's telling you, this is it. And on 9th Ave of the Jews, remember Nebuchadnezzar's dream? It all started with 9th Ave, 586 BCE. It's in the Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith, 922, divide it in half, 911. It's the 9/11 of the Jews, 9th Ave. And I did a countdown for 9th Ave on the 13th of August, 2024. Remember? What happened? At the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Floodwaters. Is that a gunshot? Or is, because nobody should be working today, so it shouldn't be wood planks. I think that was a gunshot. Wow. Yeah, the homeless going crazy? Or is somebody getting bothered by the homeless? I tell you. Well, if it's in the news, you'll know. And, so what were we? Oh yeah, 9th Ave. Yeah, floodwaters. It was all over the local news. Those who watch my videos knew I was correct, that I am a prophet, I am a revelator. You now know. Do you believe it, or do you deny it? Now that you know, having been compelled to believe. You've not paid attention to what the text says in Alma chapter 32 about being compelled to believe rather than humbling yourself to believe in advance? This is why I spent all these years trying to get you to study your scriptures, to run the tests, so that you will not be compelled to believe when it all hits the fan, and that you would know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the scriptures are true as Jewish prophecy and revelation. And so here we are, the final countdown to 9/11. Baptism by fire for 9th of Av. And so the 9/11 baptism by fire. Now, it was a natural occurrence of the fulfillment on earth. It wasn't by humans per se. And so the burning of fire, Joseph Smith warns you, they that come shall burn you. I'm very curious. We already know the election is going to be the Civil War. We know the pattern of the Danites. Election fraud, decertification of the election, war, coup, murder of the leader. We know there's a bloodbath coming this election. Harris and the Democrats are wanting you to live in fantasy land that everything's fixed and healed now. All is well in America. The New Jerusalem. No, it's not. Because Harris is not taking care of the bullies who are threatening America. Women lost their rights under Biden. LGBTQIAPO+ are being persecuted under Biden. The Jews are being further persecuted under Biden. The rise of Islam under Biden. The escalation of the border crisis under Biden. You know, it's not to say that that means we have to vote for Trump. Are you kidding me? You're really going to gaslight me on how Trump ran his presidency. All the things he wanted to do, but because people told him no, he then realized, oh, okay, I won't do it then. He's going to do it now. He knows he's got some lawsuits to dismiss. He's got some people to hang. He wants revenge. He knows he will not get any protection unless he becomes president again. And why is he running for president? 14th Amendment, Section 3 says no, no, no. No, no, no. Because there's a coup in progress. America is being couped. And we were supposed to save it, Mormons, but you didn't believe. You didn't listen to me. And so, I'm very curious about 9/11, though. Last year, for 9/11, Nelson fell with the Perseid meteor showers on his birthday, carried over into the 11th. These are a different Perseid meteor showers than the one that we had on 9th Ave. But this pattern is the same. Sign in the heavens, baptism of water, baptism of fire for this one. It already happened, even though it hasn't happened. Fire from heaven, the Perseid meteor showers, baptism of fire. But I'm wondering about something on Earth happening, or if it's just going to be the meteor showers. So pay attention. You are being warned. Joseph has warned you. Remember, white shirt, at the bedside, they that come shall burn you. I'm prophesying and fulfilling the prophecy at the same time. And so, last year, for the religious, actually it was the civil calendar of the Jews, 9/11, which was November 24th, the day after Thanksgiving. That 9/11, I had my red shirt. Get the spray out. My red shirt at the bedside. Isaiah 63, Revelation 19. He was clothed with vesture dipped in blood. Red. Esau. Red. And hairy. Red and hairy. Edom. Dam in Hebrew is blood. Adam, blood. Of the eye of Horus. Human, flesh and blood. And this is taking longer than I wanted. You're not going to church today, right? And so Nelson leaked last year the ledger of the Danites, who's been paying Brigham Young in that secret combination of economy, which became, after Joseph died, section 119. Notice 1838. And so I did my big video series on that, wearing the red shirt. Should still be on the front thing, I think, but if not, it's in the playlist. And I've been adding to it because it's a general category now. But the first videos that should be made available for you, they should be in order of oldest first, are there available for you. I know YouTube tried to fool me and play around with my channel by putting the newest one first. Bastards, and I had to go back in and change it. But nonetheless, there was another playlist. I gotta remember to add a new playlist for today, for being the first day of the 9th month. And so this year, 9th Ave is the religious 9/11, not the civil 9/11 of the Jews. See, it's reversing now. Reverse pattern. So the religious 9th Ave has happened. Now 9/11 is coming. Last year, Nelson fell with the Perseid meteor showers. This year, we're waiting for the church to fall. Nelson is the leader of the church, as the government of the church. Last year, he fell. This year, it's the religion, the church. Pay attention. Wednesday. The sign in the heavens with the baptism of fire has already happened, even though it hasn't happened. The Perseid meteor shower. And guess where it's located? Right there in Goliath's, Medusa's head. Perseus, Clash of the Titans. She has the snake hair, serpents. Serpent in the Garden of Eden, baby? Don't you know that you drive me crazy? Bites the heel and then gets his head crushed. Goliath gets struck in the third eye for seer and dies, falls. I had the video clips, I'd have to pull it out. There's one guy who says, I remember when you had those other clips. Yep. This is it, Mormons. This is what we're waiting for. You have to be compelled to believe. And it won't happen unless this church falls. Because you aren't willing to learn the truth and do what it takes to leave. And so, 16 years ago, 2 8s for room number 88. This church, all 15 prophets, ordered my execution. And then they paid the person to reward her for making it happen. Judas Price. 6 years of my life were gone. Just like Joseph of Egypt. Just like Joseph Smith. But his was only for a few months. And here we go. 88. 77. 177 years from the Exodus of Brigham Young. This is the Exodus of Mormons to restore and build the civilization of Zion. Remember Atlantis yesterday? 88, 16 years later. This isn't me doing it, because remember the little chart I made for you about Nelson? Yeah, I forgot to do this chart. I didn't go over it. I intended to go over it, and I didn't go over it. So let's see if I got the other chart. It is in the other file. Oh my god. Yep. Deaths of LDS presidents. Sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. Remember Deuteronomy 19? Because they assassinated Joseph Smith during a sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven event, they now will all die under a sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven event. That was the curse of those who murdered Joseph Smith. So Brigham Young, yep. John Taylor, yep. Wilford Woodruff. Verse 11, official declaration number 1, hilarious, yep. Lorenzo Snow, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., Heber J. Grant, George Albert Smith, David O. McKay, and, the descendant of Hiram, who is not authorized to be me. right before I am to be born. Harold B. Lee, Spencer W. Kimball, Ezra Taft Benson, Howard W. Hunter, Gordon B. Hinckley, Thomas S. Monson was a huge one. Getting the scriptures now involved with his. And so now Nelson. We are waiting for the fall of the great and abominable church, and great shall be the fall thereof. 9/11. It's happening, guys. It's out of my control. So I'm very curious as to how the Earth thing will be for 9/11. And so yes, the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, already in place. This is it. This is the last day. This is the last year. The solar eclipses happen on the last days of both the religious and the civil calendars of the Jews. This is it. So pay attention to the news. That Lee guy in the Senate who did his little tweet, people are upset for Islam, trying to make an issue out of it. Well, there was a imam who was interviewed in the news last night that I saw, and said he's grateful and he wants everybody to come now and visit them to get to know them better, and they're pushing to have their center turned into a historic monument. You familiar with what they wanted to do on the ruins of the towers from 9/11? They wanted to build a mosque on the top of the ruins. What's on the Jewish temple lot that was destroyed on 9/11 of the Jews, 9th Ave? An Islamic mosque? What's that doing there? Yeah. And now they're wanting to do it to Utah. They're wanting to make Utah an Islamic state. I told you they were sleeper cells. I told you to be concerned about them having the dominant amount of Islamic centers in this valley. That they are going to take it over. That they are planning for a burning. 9/11 is their big time, as well as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Remember that Lee guy from history? 9/11, 1857. The Book of Mormon came forth because of 9/11, 1826. Burnings accompanying them all. And so yes, 9/11, fascinating. So this was the other one. We'll save for a rainy day. Another rainy day. May not happen. I don't know. So I never did get to the Prime Directive of Star Trek. I was supposed to cover it yesterday with the Stargate, making first contact with people. Didn't turn out that way. And so, yeah, for the second coming, Nelson was going to establish polygamy. I found the original clip by Bruce R. McConkie. And so thus why the church is making the change for polygamy. The destruction of the wicked. The burning, the day that shall burn as an oven. The church is hoarding money, claiming the parable of the talents, to give the money to Jesus when he comes. It's to me, guys, I'm the true Christ. Is Nelson going to give it to me? Hell no. Hell no. He's going to his grave rather than hand it over to me, who it rightly belongs to, so that I can save you physically, not just verbally, for those who believe me. Because I know how to build Zion. That was the whole Atlantis video yesterday. And overthrow the governments. I told you, when they had the Washington, D.C. temple dedication, talking about the painting of Jesus' second coming, that I already knew with the, was the 2022, yeah. That I knew from the way to perfection that that's the church's whole plot, to overthrow the government. They're involved in this coup of America right now. It's the same pattern as the Danites. And this is it. They're overthrowing the government. And Jesus was supposed to suddenly come to his temple, but Nelson failed to complete the Salt Lake Temple. So I did the church news video on Friday, was it? And then God starts his economy, restoring the Perpetual Immigration Fund. Slavery. All of that coming this year. And so, yeah, I've got the clips for all of this, but that's a separate video in and of itself. I already have the picture because I didn't use it yesterday other than in the video. I didn't use it as a thumbnail, so we'll use it as a thumbnail today, and I'll put in the other picture of the calendar for the first and last years of the latter days, and then include this: baptisms of water and fire for 9th Ave and then 9/11. So pay attention, Mormons. Disbelieve at your own risk, because I've already proven myself. You know me by my works. And if you know and then you deny, oops. Should we close with that scripture? I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. And now, because you're compelled to be humble, blessed are ye, for a man sometimes, if he compelled to be humble, seeketh repentance. And now surely, whoso repenteth shall find mercy, and he that findeth mercy shall and endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. And now, as I said unto you, that because you are compelled to be humble, you were blessed, do you not suppose that they are more blessed who truly humble themselves because of the word? Yea, he that truly humbleth himself and repenteth of his sins and endureth to the end of my videos, the same shall be blessed. Much more blessed than they who were compelled to be humble because of their exceeding poverty. Spiritual poverty in this symbolic sense. Using poverty as the other one. So whether or not somebody refused to be humble and was homeless in their poverty and murdered somebody for a drug deal gone bad, or I don't know, or somebody shot the homeless person. God. And so blessed are they who humble themselves without being compelled to be humble. Or in other words, blessed is he that believeth in the word and is baptized without stubbornness and is now looking for the signs of me, and you're now compelled to be humble. So too late. Without being brought to know the word or even compelled to know before they will believe. Yea, there are many who do say, If thou wilt show unto us a sign from heaven, then we shall know of a surety. No. This is different from the signs that are already prophesied and revealed to happen. This is an extra thing, because there's already signs for you. You're supposed to look for them. You're not supposed to say, well, yeah, okay, sure, you've shown that all of the prophecies of the signs in the heavens have happened. But I want something else. I need something more. That's what he's talking about. Before you will believe. You're supposed to believe first and then look for the signs also. You're not supposed to find the signs and then believe. Say, I'm doing this in advance. I'm telling you about them. Yea, there are many who do say, If thou wilt show unto us a sign from heaven, then we'll know of a surety, then we shall believe. You dumbass. If you know, you don't believe. They explain it to you, and further on in Alma, dormant, or is this faith no more? One of them is dormant. I think this is dormant, and then ether is faith no more, or it could be switched. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Once you know, you no longer believe. You now no longer have faith because you know. Is this faith? No. If a man knoweth a thing, he has no cause to believe. He knows it. Duh. I'll believe it when I see it. No, you won't. When you see it, you now know it. You no longer believe. And how much more cursed is he that knoweth the will of God, knoweth the truth, having seen the prophecies, having seen the revelations, knowing that they've happened, and don't believe and do not hearken. That he that only believeth and only hath cause to believe and falleth into transgression, stray from the straight and narrow path to the tree of life. Every man according to his work shall be judged. Alrighty, that's it. And there's cast out. Cut off. Hilarious. But not so if you understood. So yeah, since we're here and we're already... notice I'm not being attacked. This is Labor Day weekend. They've taken the weekend off. You're aware of that? See what's going on? I am literally being attacked this year. Because I'm exposing the plot that's trying to save your lives. So Venus is on the shoulders, and the government shall be upon her shoulders. His shoulders. Her shoulders. Church. Venus. The church. The bride. Great and abominable church, but nonetheless, the church. You, Mormons. The moon is at the mouth of Leo the lion. Lion hath roared, who can but prophesy? Amos 3:8. Surely the Lord God will reveal nothing, save he shall reveal it, or do nothing, save he shall reveal the secrets unto his servants the prophets. 3:7. The sun is at the covenant loins. The Son of God is here. The moon, the mouth, the word. Hey, I fulfilled the prophecy of the sign in the heavens today. And there's Mercury, the messenger. Malachi, Nephi, not Moroni. Remember the white shirt at the bedside? Huh. There by the Regulus star in conjunction for throne, kingdom. And so Mars is at the top of the club of Orion. And is there in an interesting, it's a weird thing. The stars make it look like it's a crescent for a shofar horn blowing a trumpet. And so Mars is directly in the path of that. And so this message is for Mars, Nelson. He needs to hand it over to me. It's not his church. He is not authorized. He doesn't even have the right key. I do. And so there I am, in between the horns of the Apis bull of Taurus, the transfer of authority from the one king to the next, Christ, Messiah. And so then you have Saturn, the father of Jupiter, getting purged with water. It was more so in the water on 9th Ave. And then you have the 3 falling stars for the presidency of the high priesthood. They're in Aquarius, the high priesthood symbol of the Egyptians, water pouring over the head. And then you've got Regulus. They're on the shoulders as well, the falling stars on the shoulders of Regulus. And so you learn who Regulus is and his role and how it would symbolically apply. I won't go into that. It's not as necessary, but understand that it's the same symbolism with Venus being on the shoulders of Virgo. And so we're waiting for Perseids to be right there in the forehead of Medusa. Turns to stone. Peter. Seer. It's just awesome. So there you have it.